Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ling, come from Dolphic HSE Solutions, the Hong Kong office. It's a pleasure to give you a presentation here in Cosmetic Asia, and my topic today is EU Cosmetic Regulation 1223/2009 and the role of the responsible person, the RP. Before we start, let's have a brief look at the content. As mentioned in the title, my presentation is composed of two parts. The first part is the EU regulation, which includes the cosmetic definitions, the borderline product for product type discriminations, the structure of the regulation, and the related ingredient restrictions. The second part is mainly a brief introduction on the responsible person, the RP, who takes a very important role and has a legal responsibility for the cosmetic product placed on EU market. In this part, we will firstly have a brief introduction on product information for the P preparation, then come to the principles in product labeling and claims review. The next step is exporting the product information on CPMP notification, and in the last is affairs in the post-marketing surveillance. Through this presentation, we are aiming to introduce a practical approach on the EU cosmetic regulation compliance to fulfill the product safety legal requirement and to outline you the framework of the main process during the placing your product on EU market. Okay, let's go to the first part, the EU Cosmetic Regulation. This regulation came in force since 2009 and fully implemented since July 2013. First of all, a simple question. What is a cosmetics? What it is composed of and where it is applied to? There is a clear answers in the definitions in EU Cosmetic Regulation. A cosmetic product means any substance or mixtures with the functions as cleaning, perfuming, changing appearance, protecting, keeping in good conditions, correcting body odors, and it applies to the external part of the human body, which are the epidermis, hair system, nails, lips, external genital organs, and teeth, as well as the oral cavity. Although cosmetic products is a very common, very familiar consumer item in our daily life, there are several borderline products sometimes may make confusions and may thus affect the proper regulation to comply with. Several factors include whether a product is a cosmetics or other good, include first, the primary use or purpose of the product, their ingredient, the intended application, and end user, and the claim. Let's have some examples. First, the washable temporary tattoo. This kind of product is designed to be placed in direct contact of the skin in order to change its appearance. And the moistened tattoo picture is likely to be regarded as a mixture or preparation. Therefore, according to the definition we talked in last slide, this kind of product is likely to be considered as a cosmetic product. Similarly, it can apply to the fake eyelash glue or adhesive, and all of them need to fully comply with the EU cosmetic regulation. The second example, the cosmetic toys, such as the makeups played for dolls. And however, children may also have a chance to apply those makeup on their own skin. Thus, the Toy Directive Annex 2, Item 10, explicitly foresees that the cosmetic toys, such as the play cosmetics for dolls, need to fully comply with the compositional and the labeling requirement laid down in EU cosmetic regulations. Similarly, such cosmetic making kit is not just a simple DIY kit for playing. It can be considered as a multi-component cosmetics to mix together all the components based on clear instructions and need to fully comply with EU Cosmetic Regulation 2. The third example, the antimicrobial soap. From this name, is this a cosmetics or is this a biocidal product? In EU Biocidal Product Regulation and related guideline document, it clearly states that the exclusion from biocidal product into cosmetics is under the following conditions. First, the product is composed of the cosmetics ingredient and has the cosmetics primary function with the secondary biocidal activity and claim. Therefore, such a product, if it mainly claims as cleaning the skin, is likely to be considered as a cosmetic product. However, a cosmetic product cannot have a secondary medicinal activity. If your product shows, reveals, or claims any medicinal activity, it should no longer be considered as a cosmetic, but a medicine. Be careful of this. Although those provided opinions are general opinions based on the related guidelines or regulation. However, describing the borderline product is a case-by-case approach, and the local authorities within each member state has the final say. So it is suggested to ask them pre-mark when you are facing the complex cases, the confused cases, and to find out appropriate regulation to comply with. After getting a clearer understanding of the cosmetic products, the borderline products, next we come to the structure of the EU Cosmetic Regulation. This regulation is a compilation of various articles relating to specific element, and its list of controlled ingredients is published as an annex. Let's have a quick glance at the main articles in the regulation. For example, Article 4, Article 5 is mainly about the responsible person. Article 10 is for safety assessment. Article 23 is for communication of serious undesirable effects, the SUE, and there are 9 annexes in the end. As you can find the full text in the publicly available regulations, let's move fast through this part and back to what I was saying before. Regulation 1223/2009 is a major framework for the finished cosmetic products placed on EU market, and it stresses the key ideas about cosmetic safety, which includes, first, a good standards of manufacturing, and requires the ingredient being of a quality grade and fit for their intended purpose, and ask for assessing all elements of the final product to ensure safety. This regulation also introduced and has an emphasis on the role of responsible person, which I will go spend on it in next part. And there is an additional regulation, the Claims Common Criteria 655/2013. It's mainly about the cosmetic claim, which I will also expand on it on the next claim review section. The related ingredient restrictions are mainly listed in the annex. And in Article 15, there is a general prohibition statement on CMR, the carcinogen, mutagen, reproductive toxins. And in 17, there is the explanation that traces of those prohibited materials are permitted as impurities if technically unavailable and determined to be at a safe level. Annex 2 is a table of the prohibited materials in cosmetics. There are over 1,300 individual substances and group entries. Many of them are related to the pharmaceutical industries or the ingredients from oil or petroleum industries. A very important point to be made here is that the most recently amended version has included Lyro and 2 other entries in the Annex 2 as prohibited materials. Lyro, in particular, as we know, has found a very extensive use in cosmetic fragrance, So, if your products contain laurel, your perfume contains laurel, be careful of the deadline. For placing the new market on, placing the new product on market is till 23rd August 2019, and for withdrawing any available product on market is 23rd August 2021. Annex 3 is for the restricted materials. There are now around 300 individual substance or group entries, and in each entry, it clearly displays the product type, concentration limit, label warning required for each restriction. Annex 4 is for the permitted pigment allowed in cosmetics. There are 153 permitted pigment, and it's called a positive list, means only the pigment on this list are allowed to be used. And please note that mica and tin oxide are not listed in this annex. They are classified as opacifiers and can be used as well, not colorant. And the most amended version has revised the entry 144 for zinc oxide as colorant, and by adding the exposure restrictions such as lung by inhalation. So be careful of using this colorant, especially when there is the inhalation risk in your product, such as face powder or body or face spray aerosol. Annex 4 is a preservative list, positive list, and the most updated version has revised the very common preservative, MIT, from previous 100 ppm into 15 ppm in range of product. Be careful of the concentration. And Annex 6 is a positive for applied UV filters. And please remember that UV filters are for protecting the consumer's skin, not the formulation. For example, the most updated version has revised the benzophenol 3's maximum concentration as a UV filter in cosmetic products from previous 10% into 6%, and need to add with a warning such as contain benzophenol 3. However, this warning is for the UV filter purpose. If your product contains 0.5 or less than this level of benzophenol 3 and with a purpose to protect the formulation, such warning is not required. Okay, the first part has been finished. That after getting a clearer understanding of the main framework of the EU Cosmetic Regulation and the most recently update, let's move to the second part, the responsible person, RP, and the role of RP. Again, another question, who is RP? In Article 4 in Cosmetic Regulation, it said that only cosmetic products is designated to a natural or legal person within EU as responsible person can be placed on EU market. From this statement, 2 points can be clearly that first, the RP has the legal responsibility for safety and compliance of cosmetics in EU. Second, the RP must be based in Europe. They can be the manufacturers, importers, sometimes the distributors within EU, or it can be authorized to a third legal or natural person or a third company based in EU. From the initial product design, manufactured, and to the finally placed on EU market, the responsibility of the RP includes, first, compiling a product information file, the P for preparation, then conduct the safety assessment, process the claims review, make sure that all the claims are substantiated, and process the label review, and notifying the product to EU Commission database, the CPMP. And last is ongoing surveillance and due diligence. Let's go to the first step, P preparation. A P folder should contain first a description of the product, the information on the quality of the raw material specifications, a CPSR, Cosmetic Product Safety Report, and a description of the method of manufacturing and a statement on the GMP compliance. The proof of effect claims by the product and evidence to support compliance with animal testing regulations. Finally, if your product has been sold previously in any other countries, the information on sales data or details on compliance and health effects should also be provided. Let's go through the following points one by one. First, the description of the product. We need to include the specific product data, such as the product name, formulation, with exact percentage of each ingredient level, their INCI name and case number, the instruction of use, the intended consumer age, and the primary and secondary product functions. The raw material specification. The RP must make sure that all the raw material in use are of appropriate grade and quality and must adhere to the legal specification required by the EU Cosmetic Regulation 1223/2009 and in some instances required by the Food Additive Regulation 231/2012. For example, some colorants are always required in food grade. And in order to check the right and safe grade of the raw material, the RP should work with the raw material suppliers and the manufacturers to check the raw material document, which include first the MSDS, the maternal safety data sheet, to cover the safety of the raw material, how it could be stored or handled. The spec TDS, the technical data sheet, to provide the general specifications such as color, odor, density, melting point, or shelf life. The COA, the certificate of analysis, and the test result should fulfill the predefined specification. And there is additional information on some special cosmetic ingredient, for example, perfume and essential oil. Apart from those MSDS, TDS, they need also provided the allergen declaration to declare the test level of the 26 restricted allergens in Annex 3, and a IFRA statement from the International Fragrance Association. This statement confirms the use of a perfume and the maximum allowed levels of it can be involved in different types of product. And if your product is a spray, aerosol, or in talc paste, it should also require the particle size and particle shape information. And the RP should work with the raw material suppliers to check the trace material or impurities in each ingredient. And sometimes it may require product testing to test the exact level in the finished product. And there are requirements on nanomaterial. Let's go to detail on this special ingredient. Nanomaterials is insoluble or biopersistent materials with a size ranged from 1 to 100 nanometer. And in EU Cosmetic Regulation, Article 13 and Article 16 is clearly said that cosmetic containing nanomaterial need to be notified to the Commission 6 months prior to placing on the market, and need to provide information such as identification, specification, estimated quantity content in cosmetics per year is estimated content, and their toxicological profile, the safety data, the reasonable foreseeable exposure conditions. However, there are some exclusions on colorant, UV filter, or preservative. That means that only nano-colorant, nano-UV filter, nano-preservative listed in Annex 4 to Annex 6 can be used in cosmetics. After getting a clearer understanding of the raw material, the next step is the safety assessment. Cosmetic Product Safety Report, CPSR. The CPSR is provided by using all the data from PIF and to assist to make a conclusion on the compliance and safety of the product. It is split into two parts. Part A is the raw material data, safety information, and includes the product testing result. Part B is the safety assessment, CPSA, and the assessment should be conducted by a qualified assessor, and it's RP's responsibility to ensure all the data provided is correct and completed at all times. When to review and reassess a CPSR? When there is any change in the safety information, formulation, specification, etc. in your product, and the recommended time interval is every 18 months to 2 years to ensure your product remain comply with the latest regulatory requirement. As mentioned in CPSR Part A, the product testing, let's go to detail on it a little bit. Product testing is required to prove a number of things, such as the product is safe for use, fit for their purpose, and their shelf life. The test normally covers first the product stability and compatibility of the package. The accelerate test generally requires 3 months or more, and the tester should assess the product characteristics and observe any change at different various conditions and temperatures. The microbiological profile and this kind of test should at least provide the total variable accounts result, TVC result, and the results on yeast and mold. And for some high-risk products, such as the product intended for children under 3 years of old, for babies, and for products applied around eye areas or around the mucous membranes, the minimum requirement is less than 100 CFU per gram. And for other products, the low-risk product, the minimum requirement is less than 1,000 CFU per gram. The preservative efficacy test, the PET test, so-called challenging test, generally conducted over 28 days, and it can accept various of methods, such as the European Pharmacopoeia method, USP 51, or ISO method. And please note that product-specific testing may not all be needed. For example, for some water-free products, such as the solid soap or compressed powder, such as eyeshadow or face powder, or some high alcohol level products, such as the solvent-based EDT, which are unable to support microbial growth, may not need a challenging test. That's our brief introduction on the requirement of GMP, the good manufacturing practice. ISO 22716 is a recognized standard and can be used as a template in areas of personal health and hygiene, clean factory, quality control, etc. However, such ISO certificate is not a mandatory requirement, but the manufacturer must state compliance with principles of GMP and adopt a similar practice. For animal testing, as we know, in some countries, for example, in China, animal testing is a mandatory requirement. However, in EU, the EU Cosmetic Regulation has banned animal testing on both the final formulation and the raw materials. This anti-animal testing ban only applied for the purpose of cosmetic application. And for example, when your ingredient has an animal testing on other non-cosmetic purpose, for example, ECHA dossier registration required for animal testing on environmental endpoint, professional exposure of workers, this ingredient can also be used in your formulation. But we recommend in CPSR, you only use animal data before 2013 for risk assessment, and in PEEF preparation, you need the statement provided from raw material supplier or manufacturer to provide a regulation compliance statement for the purpose of cosmetics applications. The next step is claims review. It is a responsible person's obligation to ensure all claims comply the appropriate substantiation and in line with the Common Criteria Regulation 655/2013, the justification of cosmetics claim. There are 6 common criteria in this regulation, which are the legal compliance, truthfulness, evidential support, honesty, fairness, informed decision-making. And please pay attention that all claims require substantiation. And some claims can creep into the medicinal area, so be careful of this claim. And you cannot make a claim about the legal requirement. The only exception is no animal testing. Let's have some examples for better understanding. Non-toxic ingredient. This claim is not allowed, as non-toxic ingredient is a legal requirement by the Cosmetic Regulation. DNA changing, repair broke and damaged skin. Such claims reveal the medicinal activity. It's a medicinal claim, so they are not allowed too. 9 out of women considered Wonder Cream better than the leading brand. Such claim does not comply with the fairness common criteria, as claims shall not say bad or negative comment on their competitors. Contain strawberry if they only contain a strawberry flavor or fragrance. In order to fulfill the truthiness common criteria, you should use the full and exact description, such as contain strawberry flavor or strawberry fragrance. 80% reduction in wrinkles, SPF 30. If you use such claims with specific data, you need to have evidential support by related testing report or references. After confirmation of your claim, the next step is prepare the product artwork to confirm product labeling. There are 2 types of packaging. One is the inner or primary packaging, which is designed to come into direct contact of the product. The second one is the outer package. The majority of the required labeling items should appear on both packaging. However, there are some exceptions for specific product and size. Let's have the detailed information in this table. The regulatory required items are the name and address of the responsible person, the country of origin, for example, made in Thailand, made in China, the nominant content, the best before date or period after opening, PAO symbol, the precautions, warnings, the batch number, the function of your product, the list of the ingredients. They must be in correct order and the incorrect inking name, and the non-known material should be identified. Most of the labeling items are required on both packages. However, for batch number, if the inner packaging is too small, it can only required on the outer package. And for the inky list, if there is no secondary package, it should be required on the containers. And if your product has a special packaging, such as the aerosol dispenser, apart from this EU cosmetic requirement, you need to also comply with the ADD regulation label requirement, the Aerosol Dispenser Directive 2013. It's a separate regulation. Okay, after all of them prepared, the last step is to have a CPMP notification. Cosmetics Product Notification Portal, CPMP, is a free online notification system created for EU Cosmetic Regulation with the purpose to make information readily available to competent authorities or prisoner center. And it is RP to conduct the CPMP notification before exporting or distribution. The following information are required on the registration. First is the name of product. Your RP's information includes the address and the contact details, the formulation, the special packaging such as aerosols or any other uncommon packaging, the country the product is first sold to, and details on CMRs and nanomaterials, and the description of the final label or copy of the artwork. When to update CPMP notification after placed onto EU market. When there is any change in your formulation happened, or your product name changed, or is there any mandatory label requirement changed, or if you decide to distribute it in another country, you should update the CPMP notification. Actually, CPMP notification update is a part of the post-marketing surveillance, which should also cover the following affairs. First, keeping up to date with the latest regulatory change and regulatory checks of your product, recording the complaints, notifying the SUEs, the serious undesirable effect, and conduct sampling and analysis separately, and responding to significant change of the product. During the course of the post-marketing surveillance, any change, any problems, no matter how small it is, should be recorded. And all these actions are aimed to make sure that the product is safe for use, and if any change or any problem happened, it can be handled swiftly and effectively. Finally, to sum up, here is a profile of the role of the responsible person. At the beginning, the responsible person should check the raw material document, confirm the CMR materials, nanomaterials, and the traces, impurities to make sure the product is safe, and to conduct the CPSR, the product safety assessment. Then, collecting the document on no animal testing statement or the GMP compliance statement, and confirm the product claim and labeling. After finish the PIF preparation, you can have the CPMP notification by the RP. And in the post-marketing surveillance, RP should follow the latest regulatory requirement and to notify the undesirable effects, conduct sampling, analysis, and to submit the information when required by local authorities or make them accessible to the public when in need. Understanding the whole process and the role of the RP is also benefit for the manufacturers, and in order to make sure their product is safe for use and compliant with the EU cosmetics in a correct and efficient way. Last but not least, all those mentioned above can be done in our company, the Dolphic HSE. We have the headquarters based in UK, and we have a long history in safety assessment on cosmetics, toys, household, and other consumer items. Our Hong Kong office is responsible for relevant business in Asian Pacific area, provide solutions, services in terms of CPSR, and TRA on toy and llama assessment. And we can also act as RP for you or prepare the P for your RP. And in the end, if you have interest in the global cosmetic regulations, we also provide training and consulting services on those regulations and provide you the in-depth knowledge, and which may, in order to bring you to a brand new stage in the cosmetic industry. There is an international cosmetic regulation training course held in Hong Kong, November 13 this month, and in Hong Kong Science Park. And the regulation will cover the EU, USA, Canada, Asian, Japan, so small, sorry, China. And for more information, please contact our mailbox. And speakers is our Asian Pacific Director, Dr. James, and our Chairman, CEO, Mr. Cliff button. That's all my presentation. Thank you for your listening.